recording. All right. So I wanted to talk briefly about. Honestly, I'm just going to fucking yap. That's what I like to do. But I wanted to talk about how I notice like every single day we have a new advancement in AI. Like every single day, and nobody in like the mainstream media is talking about it. They care more about what's going on with the government right now. I'm not gonna give my opinion about that right now, but honestly, y'all need to just chill out. What you think is a problem, it really isn't. But we'll that's for a different time. But in reality, what you should be focusing on is the fact that every single day we are making advancements that are kind of insane. And if you have like some sort of business and you're not utilizing, like you're not keeping your eyes to or your ears to the street, finding out like how you can incorporate this into your workflow, then honestly you're doing your customers a disservice and your clients a disservice. So first I wanted to talk about is Chat GPT, right? Everybody knows about Chat GPT, but most people don't understand that it's not like the first time you use Chat GPT is it's not what it was then, like at all. They have iteratively dropped new features almost every 1 to 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks max. And then on top of that, they have new models coming out usually every 3 to 4 months. So for example, I personally have O1 Pro, or the ChatGPT Pro subscription. That means I have access to O1 Pro, O3 High, Sora, Operator, like everything that ChatGPT offers, I have either unlimited or at like a very high level. So for example, I use O1 Pro every single day. O1 Pro quite literally has the intelligence of like a PhD level graduate. And most people think that ChatGPT O1 Pro is like the same thing as 4 or 4.0. I don't use 4.0. Like it's useless for me personally. If I needed something that was that speedy, I would obviously like 110% of the time I'm using O3 High, which is new. So prior to that, I'd be using Gemini Flash Thinking or Claude Sonnet, right? And you may be wondering like, okay, what's the use case for things like this? The best way to put it is as of right now, if you utilize artificial intelligence, you have pattern recognition on such a high level that a human just can't they just can't seem to compare like whatsoever, especially when you factor in different models that have different token constraints. So you may be wondering, what the heck is a token? A token is essentially how they quantify the amount of data that's being processed at a time, right? So the way that an LLM works is that it actually is predictive analysis in a sense, where they take the set amount of tokens or words and they run that through the billions of parameters that the model is trained on. Okay, the larger the amount of parameters, that's essentially the more data that it has access to, and based upon the tokens that it intakes, it can output a response that essentially would be the logical, like would be, I don't know how to describe this, would correlate with the set of tokens that it input that were input, right? That's the best way that I could try to explain it without speaking too high level and like random people don't understand. Okay, most people are going to click off this. They probably already have. Fuck them. They can lose. I'm going to win, and that's fine because I have the attention span not of a goldfish, and you shouldn't either. Because if you actually want to succeed in such a competitive market, it's more important to give yourself a moat. Your opponent doesn't have the attention span or is going to do the due diligence to understand that there are constantly new models coming out. And I personally, like, for example, O1 Pro, that costs me $200 a month, but there's comparable models that are free. And, like, you can run them on your phone, like, straight up with no money down type shit. Like, it's not expensive, especially when it comes to video generation. Or if you want to talk about, what's the word? Like, so there's video generation, we have image generation, code generation, you name it, it can create it, right? Like I've created, so I do have a basic understanding of coding, and I can code a little bit because I started coding in high school, and I don't do it that often until recently. Now I code like every day because I use my AI to help me, right? And I can build full stack apps, meaning front end, back end, everything, like literally everything, fully functional, able to ship, put it on the app store in less than a day. Literally yesterday, I built 2 apps because I was bored. Just because I was bored. I could build websites that look like somebody spent thousands of dollars on it. I could build that in about like 20, 30 minutes depending on like what I'm doing and like the scale of the website. If I already have the brand assets. And then once you start to factor in all the other perks that these large language models have, like in terms of content generation, you can generate your brand's assets that you would pay a graphic designer for. You could generate your brand's assets in seconds. Okay. Create your website in minutes or hours, and then also program digital employees, or they're formerly known as agents, to run functions all without human intervention locally on your device. So, for example, I have agents on my own computer that can carry out tasks for me without me even instructing them and without internet connection, completely local. I personally, when I'm bored, I build AI agent infrastructures that not buildings that businesses can use. So like, let's say, for example, my mom, she owns a business and she's been hiring employees, but she hates doing all the administrative work. Right now, like in my free time, I'm just building out a system of agents that essentially automates everything in her business except for delivering the function, like delivering the actual service. Another thing, like when I used to work um, at a leasing office, right? And that place, I'm not even going to comment on it. However, one day, my boss had made me so upset that I went home and I figured out how to replace every person in the building with a computer program completely for free. Like replace all of them. Like nobody, me, all of my coworkers, the person above me, the person above her, the person above her, the regional manager, the entirety of the marketing department in a different area. I could replace them all. Only would have taken me a few days, weeks to build, and I started building it. And then I personally prayed on it for a bit, and I realized I shouldn't do things out of spite. In reality, I should be investing my energy into creating value for people that need it, and not out of spite for people who have upset me. I tend to get a little frustrated with people that talk to me in a certain way, and it wasn't. It wouldn't sit right on my conscience if I did something like that, or my conscience if I did something like that. And then I also like talk to my family about it too, and they're like, "Yeah, like use your energy for more productive things because like that's not cool, especially if there's people there that you actually do like." And I do like lots of them. It's just that I did not appreciate the way I was being treated. So I don't even work there anymore. So it's like it's whatever. They could do whatever they want. But the point is, you can now leverage these systems and slash your payroll. Like for example, I'm able to do an entire enterprise's functions across multiple workflows on edge devices. Like I don't have a good computer. I don't. My phone is like an iPhone, but like plenty of other people have iPhones. I have a Mac as a laptop, but I also have like an old desktop, and I utilize both, right? You can use old machinery, right, to run workflows that are completely autonomous. And the only skill you need to have is being able to articulate what you want. That's it. All you have to be able to is like, dog, if you can read, you're cool. You have to look like, yeah, you have to understand that most of the time when people are utilizing these large language models, they don't know how to use them. So they'll put in like 99% of the time, I won't say 99 because there's still improvements to be made. However, like like a majority of just like free models already have the intelligence level of graduate students and PhD like professors, right? They're not just your average. It's not like you're just running into like Bill on the street and asking them a question. Like dog, like they can actually do stuff. And then when you factor in the fact that we now have tools that they're able to use, so not only do they spit out knowledge, they can take action on that knowledge autonomously. Like you have essentially a digital employee, like an agent. You don't have to use these people, like actual people. You don't have to waste human resources on redundant tasks on things that don't actually require creativity or any sort of like moral decision making, right? You don't need that. Okay? And what's really what's really like shocking to me is the fact that I will look just like out of boredom to see what companies are doing, and there's people that are actively trying to hire, and they'll pay like six-figure salaries to a program like for example, I can program that that entity that they're hiring, like that person that they're hiring. I can make a digital version for free at home, just in my free time. Like, what? So, what I really think is important that businesses need to start paying attention to this. All right. So, back to ChatGPT Pro. I go all over the place, but the point of this was to be a yap. It's not meant to be structured. And honestly, I don't think anybody's going to listen to it, which is good because that gives me a moat. I mean, it's like I'm still going to continue to dominate because I'm like every single day when there's a new release that comes out, I'm one of the first people on the planet to know about it, like straight up. Because there's a very small bubble of people that are into AI in the same way that there was the .com bubble where eventually that bubble popped because everyone got into it and yada, 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 the loans. And I'm not even going to get into that. But in general, usually when there's something new, all the people who make money off of it they've been in that industry. It's just that they had the foresight to know that it was about to pop up, right? So that's why, like, the moment ChatGPT Pro became available, I was like, bro, this is worth way more than $200. Like, if you have a GPT Pro subscription and you know how to use it properly, you can leverage that. Like, you don't really need any other subscriptions. I personally have others because I like to know what else is out there. And of course, it does have limitations. There's some things that do certain things better, and I'm personally believe that it's very important for me to have an understanding of how to use each AI to its best ability, because essentially that means I never have to hire employees. Like, the only people I'll ever hire are going to be my friends, just because I just want to make sure that they can do whatever they want for a living and not have to be in that rat race and then eventually get replaced by somebody who creates something like I do, right? So, for example, GPT Pro, right? Amazing at writing code. O3 Mini High, incredible at writing code. There's a test called Humanity's Last Exam, okay? O3 Mini, there's a new, I guess you would call it an agent, but a new feature available only to Pro subscribers is deep research. Deep research spends 30 minutes crawling the internet based upon a prompt that you give it, and it if you like there's different benchmarks to see how intelligent AI is. We've had to create new benchmarks over and over and over and over because they keep getting they're beating the benchmarks, right? So with that, there's a new benchmark literally released maybe 2 weeks ago. It was called Humanity's Last Evaluation. Okay, it's supposed to be the hardest benchmark of all time. In I think it was 10 days or 9 days, about 2 weeks. We'll just call it about 2 weeks, right? Benchmark comes out. The highest score on the benchmark was 9%. Okay? Oh, no. A model came out like 2 weeks ago, or maybe like 9 days ago, I think. And it scored like, pardon me, like 9% or 6%. A few days later, literally 3 days later, another model comes out. That model scores 12%. A week later, or maybe not a week, maybe 3 days later. I have the days mixed up. All right, I'm not a calendar dog. I'm a businessman. I'm not a calendar. But less than a week later, 26%. The test has only been out for about 2 weeks. What are you doing? Like, you don't need to hire. Well, you can hire people for lead generation, which, like, don't get me wrong, you need leads. I'm your guy. I got you. But in reality, if you know how to utilize AI properly, you don't need a person. You need a system. And you need a person who's capable of utilizing that system, maybe. Or you could do it yourself. Or if you don't like doing that, you can hire someone who likes running those systems. Right? Like the future of the workforce isn't going to be, oh, I hire this person because he specializes in this thing, and I hire that person because they specialize in that thing. That's incredibly inefficient, and you're going to get crushed. The future of the workforce is hiring a person to oversee different operations run by autonomous agents. Okay, so deep research, for example, I had it do research for me because I had already been researching quantum mechanics and its applications to business. And something that deep research did for me was that it was able to, you know what, I have on my PC. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see how. I have to. It's still not done. It still has more shit to do. That's crazy, bro. How many sources did it use? I think it used like 40 something sources or something. Either way, deep research, it combed all of the best sources possible to do the research I wanted. The thing is, I couldn't just say research how business works with quantum mechanics. Like, no. Because if I told a human, like if I paid a human, like let's say I had a research group or I was an NGO and I paid a research group to conduct some studies for me, I wouldn't pay them like $100 or $2,000, whatever fucking amount of money to answer that question. Tell me about quantum mechanics. No, that's not what you do. I presented it with an 11-page document that I created outlining exactly what I needed and the types of sources I wanted, the industries I wanted to know how it can affect, the amount of value of each of these industries, and how the value is going to shift, yada, yada. Okay. And I have multiple research agents. It's just I'm giving the example of this one in particular. Um, and it gave me, like, I still haven't finished reading all of everything that it gave me. But, like, in terms of the independent research that I had been doing for a week prior, I did a week of independent research before that. It did 100 times better. I wish there was a way for me to quantify how much better quality the data sets I received. A million times better in 25 minutes and 52 seconds. People pay 20,000, 30,000. They're paying massive amounts of money for people to do that. I did it at home on a over 10-year-old PC. And all it cost me was $200 a month. And I get 100 research queries a month. Think about that. Imagine if you're a business and like you're trying to understand the habits and patterns of your target market, bro. It's about asking the right questions and being able to utilize the tool. Okay. So what's most important is not that you're out here like, how do I say this? It's not like AI is going to replace people, yes, but I think it's more so going to um, allow you to do actions that move the needle. Okay, like the reason that people do research in the first place is because they have a question they need answered, and then utilizing that answer, they most likely want to do something or act on something, right? But because they don't have that information, they have to do research, and that research may take X amount of time. Essentially what artificial intelligence does is it shrinks the time scale of all functions that we're trying to do, right? So if I wanted to do a study and it was going to take me 3 years to do this study, if I leverage artificial intelligence and quantum computing, a study that was going to take me years is now done in a couple days. Why aren't you learning how to use this stuff? You should know how to use this before your competitors. They're still not. They're worried about what's going on in the Capitol right now. They have no idea. Yes, that's Chief. That's my boy. They have no idea that what's it called? That like where we're going right now in terms of tech and how fast it's coming out. For example, Janus 7B. It is a great model from the same people that created I believe it's DeepSeek. I believe it's a DeepSeek model. It might be Alibaba actually. No, I don't think I don't think Quen made Janus 7B. I'm pretty sure it's a DeepSeek model. But anyways, it's a multimodal model. It's only 7 billion parameters. 7 billion parameters, man. What? Like a quantized version of that? You could probably run that on your phone. And the what's so important about Janus is that it's multimodal and the fact that you can create music, video, you could create audio, you could create video, you could create pictures, if I'm not mistaken, right? And this is stuff that people before, if they wanted to have done, they had to communicate to another person. And what's very interesting is with people, no matter how we communicate, there's going to be a lossy format, meaning that there is data that is always going to be in my brain that I can't quite articulate to you in a way that you're going to understand it because we might have different comprehension abilities. We might have just different abilities in terms of vocabulary. There's like a bunch of other things. There's just a million things that could be going on, right? However, if you do take the time to like learn AI, that the amount of loss, like the amount of data that's lost in between saying what you want and the output is like drastically decreased. And also it's far less expensive and you can iteratively make it like generate what you want. So even if it doesn't come out the first time, you can tell it to make edits. So rather than giving a project to somebody who has 20 different projects, you don't know if they even take yours the most serious. It could take forever for them to get back to you. You can generate something by yourself as long as you're able to articulate it. Like what's most important now with utilizing AI is prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is essentially just the skill of articulating what you want to an artificial intelligence model like an LLM, and then it gives it outputs what you're looking for correctly in the format that you're looking for. All right. So for example, like I said, when I was using deep research earlier, my prompt was 11 pages long. Okay. Yeah, that might be a lot, but there's also prompt compression. There's a million different ways to prompt, right? But what you shouldn't be doing is just giving like one or two sentences. Like the best way to go about it is first like saying, yo, this is the task, this is the role this is the role you're taking. This is the task you're going to complete. This is the objective of the task. This is what the output should look like. These are the specific like deliverables that need to be within the output, and these are things that you are not to do. I want you to focus on X. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to be very structured in your approach because rather than thinking of it as like something that you just dilly-dally type to, literally think of it as an employee. If you were to tell your employee to do something and you're not a shitty boss, you'd be incredibly descriptive about what you want, and then they would deliver that to you. Why wouldn't you do the same to a digital one? Why? Why not? Because it can work faster? No. If you're smart, you'll leverage the time that it affords you. That means that you can either take on more clients or you can improve the quality of your output. Because now you can, let's say it usually takes you a week to produce something regularly, but the LLM is able to do it in like 2 minutes. Well, maybe you can still do that in a week, but you have the ability to refine it to such a grade that you could never reach that level of quality doing it by yourself. All right. And then also there's a distinct difference between just doing something, like having the LLM just do something completely for you and then working collaboratively. People who work collaboratively with LLMs are far superior because the outputs are always going to be better. They actually like you should have, a general understanding of the thing that you're trying to create beforehand, or it's just never going to come out right. You're going to be ineffective with your creation and also inefficient with your time, right? But people that work in collaboration with it, they use it as a tool. They are going to blow you out of the water, man. Like you can do The research that you could do is so fast. It's so fast. And then there's more applications than research. Like I have an LLM that is just it just does all of my lead generation. Just tell it. I literally just tell it like, yo, this is what I need. This is my target demographic. These are the channels to check. These are the ones to avoid. Boom. And it will search autonomously without me being home. And it won't stop until I have the 250 leads that I requested. And I have versions that run locally on my computer. I have versions that run in the cloud. Why wouldn't you leverage that technology? And every day it improves. There's new models that come out every single day. And a lot of them are free and open source, meaning that you uh even if like it comes out and you're like, ooh, I don't really know what to do with this, yada yada, like I don't really see the use case, or I can't really make this into a product. Yes, you can, because you can just fork it, meaning take the bare bones of it and then incorporate your own values and whatever the fuck you want into it. Give it a nice little user interface, and now you have a product. And you can fine tune LMs. Like, for example, there's LM Studio, which means that you can take a very small model of LLM, like a very small AI model, and have it trained specifically on a singular task and nothing else. And it will be phenomenal at that task and nothing else. And then create a system in which they all work together at specific tasks. So, for example, you can have an LLM that, like, you can use AI agents and have a framework where, let's say, you get an email, right? For example, I also use 11 Labs, right? Let's say I get an email, and that email is an inquiry about something, and they have their number to call them back. Well, one model sees that I have the email. It it reads the statement, creates a document or some sort of like parsed document that can be sent to another LLM for examination. That LLM then has a different role. That role is to create a script that will fit the personality that I've kind of assigned to it. And then the third LLM, and then it ships that script over to the third LLM, which is entirely just focused on replicating speech and being able to communicate, right, in real time. Because there's text-to-speech LLMs that can talk as fast as humans, and they're indiscernible. And most people don't even know that, right? So you can create pretty much a receptionist from 3 different LLMs, or you can have a more robust one, right? You can have virtual assistants that are done by AI agents. You can have your CRM done by AI agents. You can have products tested by AI agents. You can run your social media platforms with AI agents. Like, if you can imagine it, it could do it, and it can probably do it now. It's just up to you learning how to make that function. Why wouldn't you do that? I don't understand. And then there's also plenty of people that they're like, well, I don't want to do it because I I think that it's against it's not fair for the customer because it's like not authentic, yada yada. You're stupid. Sorry, buddy, but that's a stupid take. And let me explain. That is such a dumb take. If you have a client and they pay you in good faith that you're going to deliver the best possible service to them, why wouldn't you use all the tools afforded to you to deliver the best possible service? That's negligence, in my opinion. Like, why would I not give someone who gave me their money in good faith that I would complete a service to the best of my ability? Why wouldn't I use all the tools afforded to me to deliver the best product possible? That doesn't make sense. There's also, for example, the way that you can leverage artificial intelligence because they have insane pattern recognition abilities, and they can, in general, just keep in the way that like humans think about something at a time. They can't think about X amount of things at once. Like the amount of, let's say, RAM that we have, like operating memory that a person can use at once is one, entirely dependent on their health, their mental state, and then two, it's not that large in comparison to large language models. Like now we have with Google Gemini 2, 2 million, like Gemini 2.0 Pro, right? 2 million token context window. If I'm not mistaken, that is about um, 10,000 page document or a 20,000 page document that it can all keep in context at once. You can't do that. If I asked you to recite 10,000 pages to me right now, you can't get past page 2, 3, 4. If you're really, really smart, maybe you can get 10 in word for word. That'd be really impressive. But 10,000? Get out of here. You can't. It's impossible. We're limited. We're limited by just our biographical or biological hardware. I said biographical. That's funny. Our biological hardware. They're not. Why wouldn't you use that as a tool? So one thing that I like to think about is supply chain. Like leveraging supply chain and artificial intelligence is going to be massive. It's going to be huge, as well as once you factor in quantum computing. That means that you can test multiple positions simultaneously and then have a large language model process the data for meta, like for high level pattern recognition. Do you understand what that means? We can quite literally create new matter, or not new matter, but new materials, right? Like that's what that means. That means that the timeline for curing diseases has gone from, like, let's say it may take, just in general, it takes a disease 20 to 30 years on average to get cured. It might be shorter, it might be longer, I don't know. Like, if you leverage quantum computing and then artificial intelligence, you put them together, you can solve diseases in less than a year. And this is already happening. It's just that it doesn't get put on the news because it's not Kim Kardashian's ass. Like, straight up. Like, there's things that are happening right now in terms of technology that have already. I was telling my parents, like, in December, we took a massive turn in humanity, and nobody's aware. Like, from November until right now, February 5th, there has, like, technology has been evolving at such a rate that it is nearly impossible to keep up with. I took a nap today because I was exhausted from working on some personal stuff, like personal projects I have going on. And, like, it's kind of crazy that the first thing I did when I woke up was, like, I have to get on X. I have to see what came out while I was asleep. I was asleep for 2 hours, and I was anxious. I was anxious because there has yet to be a single day that something hasn't come out. And the people that are the spear, like the tip of the spear for generating these new technologies, nobody is interacting with them. I talk to them on a daily basis. I'm just a regular dude, bro. They're accessible. Imagine if Steve Jobs was accessible when he was creating Apple and all, like the iPod and all that other shit. They're accessible because the general populace doesn't seem to care. That's insane to me. You can easily talk to these people and ask them questions, and they're very kind. They'll talk to you back. It's awesome, right? I don't know, man. It's just like, and then also, I don't know. There's just so many different technologies, but I guess because I've been yapping for a while, but there's a few that I just wanted to go over. I'm just going to mention real quick that I think people need to be checking out. Notebook LM, incredible. It's essentially, take studying and make it perfect. All right, it still has some things to be worked out, but, like, Notebook LM is incredible. Okay, Perplexity Pro is. I'm the biggest fanboy of Perplexity. I use it every single day, 50,000 times a day. I don't Google search, Bing search, anything. Perplexity or Perplexity Pro, and it incorporates reasoning models. You can use O3 with it. You can use R1 with it. Insane. All right. Some general AI services that people should be getting. ChatGPT Pro. I don't think that, like, if you if you think that ChatGPT Pro isn't worth it, but you have the money to afford it, you're a nincompoop. Oops, don't care, but it's true. You're stupid. That means that you just quite. It's a skill issue. It's straight up a skill issue. It is the most useful tool that the human race has ever been afforded, and it's only $200. Are you stupid? You should be using that every day, and you should become very proficient with it. That's all I've got to say on that because it has so many different features. It's insane. Like it's worth way more than $200, and the company OpenAI is losing money on that price point. They lose money on people using GPT Pro right now because it's that good. Like it's that good. It should be if it was priced at $2,000 a month, I would still say that it was worth every single penny. I'm not kidding. It is that good. Um, Google Gemini is a steal, especially if you have a Google One subscription. I have Google One. I get 2 terabytes of data online for $20 a month, as well as access to all the Gemini features and Notebook LM. Fuck yeah. And I'm gonna increase it to 5 terabytes soon because it's only like another $5 or something like that. I think it's like 25 or $26 a month to go up from 2 terabytes to 3 terabytes of storage. But all the features remain the same. Let's see. Claude, Claude. Well, Claude by Anthropic is really good. Sonnet is so good. It's just the usage rates are so bad. Their usage rates are so bad. I hit the limit every time I use it, unless I'm using it in my IDE. And if you're wondering like what an IDE is, like an IDE, it's like VS Code, Cursor, Windsurf, NeoVim, like things like that. Essentially like coding companions. Chat LLM by Abacus, I want to say. Bindu Reddy, she's probably not going to see this. One of my favorite Twitter accounts. I love that woman. Um, like, Chat LLM is incredible. Code LLM is incredible. They have computer use. It's incredible. It's only $10 a month, which is a steal because it should be, if I were selling that product, I'd be selling it for $50 a month. I would raise some of the usage rates, but like or usage limits. I don't know whatever the fuck you want to call it. Usage limitations, but I've only hit the usage limitation once. And it was because I was experimenting. I was doing something that like most regular people would never be doing with that. Um you should be getting anything LLM. If you are any like remotely competent with computers, you should be using anything LLM. Same with the LLM Studio. Codename Goose is really good. Recently got that. Olama, I love it just for downloading my local models. Windsurf, Cursor, great. Let me think. In terms of creation, Photo AI is really good. Kling, Pika, Ideogram, Leonardo, Midjourney, um, Grok. Grok is a sleeper because although I don't use Grok for any of the chat capabilities anymore, unless I'm like on X and I want to like examine a tweet, Grok uses Flux 1.1, which is huge. It is so good at generating lifelike images and people aren't even like aware. To me personally, Grok is the best at generating lifelike images. If I need like a real image, I'm using Grok. And then on top of that, everybody should be using Adobe Creative Cloud. You should. If you don't, you're an idiot. Just get Adobe Creative Cloud. It's not that hard to learn. Build some skills. Okay, we're adults. Build skills. Um, and let me think. Quen, DeepSeek. I personally don't use DeepSeek. Like I mean I use the distilled version of the models locally, but I don't use their web interface like that anymore. I'm pretty sure I deleted it because I like downloaded it as an app on my computer. I don't use the phone app. Don't use DeepSeek on the phone. It's just like not worth it. Um, yeah, just stay away from that. But if you're gonna use it locally, use a distilled model, and they're so good. The 7B distilled is really good. The 8B distilled is really good. 14B is pretty good. I believe there's even a 70B, like 70 billion parameter, maybe a 32 billion parameter as well. All of them great. All of them great. Excuse me. Let's see. Any other AI? I said Quen. Quen is great. I like Quen. Quen Max is pretty solid, especially for coding. If I also like Kimmy. Nani is really good. Like if you're talking DeFi, y'all should be getting on Nani. It's like Nani dot zero or dot .000. Y'all should check it out. So good. So good. Essentially, it's an AI agent slash LLM that utilizes blockchain, and I'll talk about blockchain one of these days too, and run down why we need to get it, why y'all should be using blockchain. Like, and if you don't understand crypto, it's because it's the public perception of it. But if you understand the underlying technology, like blockchain technology, you realize that it is incredibly useful. It's just that because of its public outlook, it's being adopted slowly. However, it's it needs to be adopted ASAP. But let me think. Any other AI models that I really think are like worth mentioning off the top of my head? Tencent Quanyan video. I think I know I butchered that pretty good though. It's pretty good. I said Janus 7B was made by. I'm pretty sure it's made by ByteDance actually. ByteDance, by the way, TikTok's the owner of TikTok. They have a lot of great AI models too. They've been releasing bangers recently as well. Computer use, browser use. No. I'm thinking is web UI, browser use, and Mac use. So good. Check them out. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. So good. Um, hmm. Let me see. Let me grab my phone. Maybe. Oh no, I'm using my phone as a camera. Well, yeah, I guess that's all that I can think of off the top of my head right now. I use a lot of models on the daily because I think that it's important to be proficient with all of them. Um, but you should be using them on the daily too. Like straight up. You just should. And if you aren't, you're gonna sorry, but you're gonna fall behind. It's the new upper class is going to be people who understand how to utilize this technology effectively. In the same way that all those people randomly got rich off Bitcoin, that's what's going to happen with these models. Like people who can effectively utilize AI. And there's a few projects coming out that are pretty good too. I highly recommend that you guys look into Eliza. Eliza OS is really good. Hyperbolic Labs, pretty good. Um, what's the Nouse Research? Noose Research, I think it is actually. I said Nouse. Noose Research, so good, so good. Um, check those out. And yeah, I guess this is the end of my rant for now. But I think that every once in a while, I'm just gonna post whatever the fuck I want, bro. I'm a grown ass man. I don't care. I might as well just rant, say some shit, inform the people, because at the end of the day, I'm gonna be fine. I'm gonna get my bread. Everybody else is gonna be cooked. So I'd love to. Those who are willing to listen, they should be helped, and those who aren't, be broke. We gonna be up. Take care.